Here we go then, boys and girls. It's taken us 55 episodes and 6 seasons to get to this point. But Holme Football Club are a Football League team. Today, we play our first 2 games in League 2. Hello and welcome to part 56 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have our first 2 games in League 2. We're playing against Oldham away from home, and then our first league game at the home of football is at home to Newport County. How many times have I just said home in a 30-second period? Feels weird, despite I know the name of the team that I manage. If you missed the transfer special that came out a couple of days ago, be aware I didn't go super crazy this time. I don't even have to scroll. You can find more details of all the players we brought in that transfer special video. We're not going to get stuck into introducing them all now because we did that. Then you can go back and watch that one. So this is the team that we're going to be playing for our first ever game in the Football League. As you can see, we are playing an injured player, but it's Lerick Fernandez. He's a home original. In fact, he's not officially one of the home originals. He's homegrown. He's not one of the home originals. We only have 2 of the home originals left now, which is Powell and Phillips. They both start too. We couldn't not play Lerick Fernandez, though. I know he's only officially back here on loan, but we had to play him. So we've got Sivertu in goal, a back 4 of Webber, Proctor, Sass Davis and Daly Campbell. Phillips is our holding midfield player with Fernandez and new signing Will Collar in front of him. And then a front 3 of Tyler, Powell and Stanley. I don't know if these players are going to be good enough to play at this level. I mean, Connor Stanley, he's been a star for a long time. He's still only 22, but we signed him when we were in the Northern Premier League. We're now in League 2. Mick Powell came through the youth team when we were in the Northern Premier League Division 1 East. He's playing for us in League 2. Lerick Fernandez, we were in the Northern Premier League Division 1 East when he came through the youth team. Shane Phillips, same situation. It's a big ask for a lot of these players to make the step up to League 2. I have no idea. I have no expectation going into these first 2 games. The media and the board are both expecting a mid-table finish from us. So it should, theoretically, be a bit of one of those kind of nothing seasons. And I guess that's exactly what we need. We need to establish ourselves as a Football League team. We don't want to be in any of this relegation battle nonsense. But we're living in a world of full-time professionals and transfer windows now. And it means it's going to take a little bit longer and with a little bit more thought to build a team capable of making that next step up, that next promotion. We can't sign a bunch of players in November and have them turn the team around like we would have done in the past. A, because the transfer window doesn't let us, and B, because we don't have the money to do it. We're maxed out on all of our budgets. Let's do the calm underdog team talk, the one that served us so well on those FA Cup runs from a couple of years ago. And here we are. We are a Football League team. It is insane. Look at some of these teams we're playing with in the Football League. Madness. Now we just need to not make embarrassments of ourselves. I still haven't changed my shirt since we're in the Northern Premier League, which I'm pretty comfortable with. I don't mind. I'm still wearing the same cheap suit. I'm still not earning very much money. I'm probably the lowest paid manager in the Football League. I think I'm still on less than £400 a week, which is less than I was earning in that first season. What a pass from Stanley to Powell, who then slots Fernandez in. That was some beautiful football. It falls to Lewis Tyler, the hero of Wembley. Webber across to New Boy Collar, back to Phillips, to Collar again. We're playing possession football in the league. Collar tries to shoot from range. It bounces back as far as Phillips, who plays in Tyler. Webber's on the overlap, but it goes to Fernandez, who then finds Webber. Webber with the cross. Mick Powell has done a Mick Powell. And of course, there was only going to be one man who got our first goal in the Football League. He missed out on the playoff final last season with his first injury in 6 years, basically. He's been ever present all the way through this run up through the leagues, and at 5'9", of course he scores with a header 11 minutes into our life in League 2. We're 1-0 up. Goodness gracious me. It's coming home, boys and girls. Look, we're up in a playoff position. We are not. Let's nip that talk in the bud right now. We are not getting promoted this season. This is still, I just introduced them to you. This is still a team that was put together 2 to 3 divisions lower down, with just a couple of additions over the last 2 years, really, mainly at the back. The defence is really a a conference creation, but the attacking part of this team was built in the Northern Premier League. And it seems mad that it still works at this level. Fernandez, beautiful ball forward to Mick Powell, who is all on his own and forces a save out of the Oldham keeper. I hope that Mick Powell, being the big game player that he is, even though it says he's afraid of big games on his player report, we've seen from cup runs that he always plays well against opposition that he shouldn't be good enough to play against. I'm hoping, because he's going to get a lot of situations like that this season, that we're going to finally see a consistent season from Mick Powell. Phillips into Fernandez. Fernandez slots Powell in. Powell's there again and takes 2 bites of the cherry and still can't find the back of the net. Tyler was there on the follow-up but couldn't get a shot away either. We've played very, very well in this first half. I kind of feel like we should be more than 1 goal up with that level of possession, that number of shots. I don't think Oldham quite understand what's happened to them in that first half, but now they're going to get the opportunity to regroup. So let's calmly say we're the under... we may be winning, but don't let your performances drop. I'm doing it calmly because we don't need to win this game. We're not expecting to win this game. I don't want to assertively say, you mustn't concede a goal now, because if we concede a goal now, we concede a goal now. Who really cares? We can lose this game, and it doesn't really matter. We're going to lose a lot of our away games this year, probably. But it would be nice to hold on and get a win on our first game at this level. We're knocking the ball. That's terrifying, what we're doing here. Can I just remind you all, this is your first ever game in the Football League. As nice as that little possession football is, and it's led to a lovely attack as well, goodness me, was it terrifying. This is a confident team, but what a goal. Because that has started with Phillips and Civita and Webber just knocking the ball around between them and basically playing triangles around the Oldham forward, waiting for the gap, finding the gap, playing a beautiful pass out to Stanley, and then it's a tap in for Lewis Tyler. We've gone from our goalkeeper to the back of the net without Oldham touching the ball, without ever looking like losing the ball. Powell's in again, and Powell's won a penalty. He looked a mile offside, but he somehow won a penalty, and we could be about to go 3-0 up. What on earth is going on? Mick Powell, and the penalty is saved. For a second there, we looked like we were playing against a team that was possibly the most confident team in the history of the world. But I imagine missing a penalty is going to rob us of a little bit of that pomp and arrogance that we were playing with for a minute there. And it was, as the manager, it was terrifying watching us do it. But at the same time, you got to feel a bit of pride that they all feel comfortable and confident enough to play the way they've just been playing. We're going to take off Daly Campbell for Tanner. And we're also going to take off Will Collar and bring on Lewis O'Brien. Always a bridesmaid, Lewis O'Brien. He's been a substitute for us for years, and he'll still be a substitute for us this year. He's always good enough to come off the bench. Never seem to start him. Tyler loses out to the Oldham player, and they're just, they've cut through us there like we don't have a defence, but Civita pulls off a good save. Are we going to get caught out this year with the fact that Civita is so short? Hopefully not. But we have got Humphreys as backup. Plus we signed another young goalkeeper in the summer whose name escapes me. But we do have options if 5'8" isn't tall enough for a Football League goalkeeper, which I suspect it's probably not. But we said that about a National League goalkeeper as well, and he now holds the record for most clean sheets in a National League season. So he's clearly doing something right. Perhaps the fact that he's so short means that because of the way all the attributes and stuff work in game, because he's so short, perhaps he's got a boost on everything else, and it makes him a super goalkeeper who will occasionally get lobbed. And I can handle that. I don't mind that at all. Right, we are going to take... I suppose we should have taken off Lerick Fernandez by now, because he started the game injured. But then he's not our player. He's here on loan, so let's not worry about that. Let's give Callum Ainley a debut. New winger. He can play on either wing. He can play as the attacking midfielder. We're paying him a lot of money as well. He's a player who I expect before too long will force his way into the team in one of those attacking midfield positions. One of the three. I don't know which one. But for now, he's going to make a lot of appearances off the bench as he tries to displace Stanley or Tyler or force us into a system change that'll allow him to slot into a 4-2-3-1. What a pass for Mick Powell. Powell is in again. And it's straight at the keeper again. Despite scoring a lovely little goal early on, Mick Powell's been his frustrating self as usual and has missed so many chances. He should have had a hat-trick today, missing a penalty, missing a couple of sitters. the hardest chance he's had all game was the one he scored. And I can't complain too much. He's got our first ever goal in the Football League. And you love it when I complain about him. But, it's frustrating watching him miss so many chances. Goodness me. But we've just played very, very well. Look at that. 58% possession away from home in our first game in the Football League. What a performance. If we play like that for too many more games at the start of this season, I'm going to start having silly thoughts about how this could all turn out. Well, I mentioned before that we now live in a world of transfer windows, and the transfer window is just closed. We have done a little bit more business. Firstly, David Sawinski, up-and-coming midfielder, who, if we hadn't have been promoted, would be a starting central midfielder for us this year. He's got out on loan. He needs a season in the conference. He played in the National League South last season for Eastleigh. He's got out on loan to Mansfield for the season in the National League. He's got in as a key player. Hopefully he's going to go there, have a great season and be ready to slot straight into our team next year alongside Lerick Fernandez. And we have 2 homegrown Patreon players in our central midfield. But probably the biggest piece of transfer news is we finally signed the striker we've been looking for years. Prince Chidi, an 18-year-old Nigerian under-20 international, signs on loan from Derby for the season. He's a 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential striker who, according to my coach reports, is a better striker than Mick Powell. There's pressure on Mick Powell now, not just from Chidi, but from Polesky as well, who we signed in the summer, who is apparently as good as Mick Powell. So there's 2 players going to be putting pressure on Mick Powell. Obviously, he scored in his last game, so he's going to play today. But he needs to watch his back because there's players getting ready to take his place in the team if he doesn't perform. Just the one change from the team that played in the last game, and we're giving Robert Jarvis his debut today. He's another central midfielder, box-to-box midfielder. Same current ability as Will Collar, but more potential. This is a youngster who came in from Derby in the summer. So came through the same youth team at Derby as Prince Chidi. So we're going to give him a go because we could have a little bit of a Derby link up in the centre of the pitch there. But we've got Collar on the bench. Collar, if Jarvis doesn't play well, Collar can come on. But we've got to work out what our best midfield is going to be relatively quickly because, you need to know these things. We've got new players. We've got to have a look at them all. Well, not necessarily all of them, but the ones that are all similar ability. Collar got the nod in the last game. Jarvis gets the nod today. Right, let's go and avenge whatever happened last time we played Newport. No idea what happened or when we played him. They weren't in our league last year, were they? I don't think they were. So I guess we played them in the Cup at some point. Did they knock us out of the FA Cup? That's feeling a bit familiar. Jarvis with the free kick. Lerick Fernandez is there. I think Tyler nodded it down, although the assist has gone to Jarvis. Fernandez tucks it away for his first goal in the Football League. And it was a scrappy goal, but who cares? We're 1-0 up, and that's the first league goal at the home of football. So just like with our first league goal, went to a home original, one of our homegrown players grabs the first goal at the home of football in the Football League, and it's Lerick Fernandez, and it didn't come off Tyler, it came off a Newport player, as we saw in the replay. Fernandez now with the free kick, and that is an absolutely stunning goal from Lerick Fernandez. We said our goodbyes to him at the end of last year, sold him for 100 grand, loaned him back, thought Wembley was going to be the last we ever saw of him, didn't expect to get him on loan again, but here he is, potentially going to get our first Football League hat-trick, because he's got most of the game now to go and grab a third goal. Lerick Fernandez, he's too good for us. It is ridiculous. What a player he is. He's gone from being the youngster trying to break through, like Sawinski, who we were just talking about, who it took a season or two for Fernandez to force his way into this team, but I don't think there's any question now that he's the best player at the club. Probably, if we ignore Dean Morris, he's the best player we've ever produced. Lerick Fernandez has a hat-trick in the Football League. It's home 3, Newport 0. We've pretty much got this one wrapped up already, and it's because of a hat-trick in the first half hour of this game from our superstar central midfielder, Lerick Fernandez. Oh, I'm so proud. I feel like a proud dad seeing one of our homegrown players doing that. It's a beautiful thing. Oh, wonderful stuff. I say if we ignore Dean Morris, he's like 3 years younger than Dean Morris. Dean Morris is now playing in the Premier League. Who's to say that's not where Lerick Fernandez ends up? because that kind of form at his age in this league, only his second ever game in the Football League, to have just ripped a team apart the way he just has, he's going to be getting recalled from his loan if we're not careful. Excellent performance. How old? I'm going to check how old Fernandes is in a minute. I think he's still a teenager, although I'm probably making him younger than he is. No, he's 20 now. So 2 years younger than Mick Powell, so that makes him 2 years younger than Dean Morris. So when Dean Morris was 20, I think he was playing in the Championship for Preston. I think he'd gone and been a reserve at Rangers for a year or two. I think he was playing fairly regular Championship football for Preston at this age before he got his big money move to the Premier League, his £13 million transfer to Huddersfield in the Premier League. Now, unlike Dean Morris, we have, I think, a 50% sell-on with Loic Fernandes. Where is it? How do we see? Doesn't say on there, does it? I'm sure we've got a sell-on, though. Imagine if he went for even £1 million. Be beautiful. Right, Mick Powell is coming off. We're going to give Prince Chidi his debut. I guess we'll leave him as an advance forward. We're also going to take off Tyler and stick Ainley out on that left-hand side where he can play as an inside forward for us because he's right-footed. And just have a look at Prince Chidi. We've seen how good Fernandes is. Mick Powell hasn't turned up today. Let's have a look at the youngster from Derby. And final change. I want to bring Polisky on as well, but there's no way to get him on the pitch. Is there anyone else here we've not had a look at yet? We've not had a look at Lawrence Maguire. So let's bring him on to play at centre-back. One of the new centre-backs we brought in the summer as well. We brought in, I think, 3 new centre-backs in the summer, and none of them have got a look in so far. So Lawrence Maguire is the first to have a go at being in our team. But 2 games into life in the Football League, and we're top of League 2, boys and girls. Are we allowed to start dreaming yet? Because that's been a very productive first episode at this level. I hope this has been a jumping on point for a lot of people. I know I talked about this series in Non-League to Legend the other day and suggested people got involved. This would be a good jumping on point. We've just made it to the Football League. Well, there you go. We've made it to the Football League. We've started. If that was your first episode, let me know down in the comments, because that has been mad. We're top of League 2. Right, I did announce this on the Non-League to Legend episode yesterday, but just in case you don't watch that series, that's an interesting question actually. Does anyone watch this and not that? Let me know down in the comments if you don't watch Non-League to Legend. But I'm doing my 50,000 subscriber Q&A tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. So your next home episode now will be on Monday when we go back to our normal schedule. So daily Non-League to Legend next week and daily home videos next week as well. I'm not entirely sure yet what time. I know we were traditionally putting them out at 7 o'clock, but my contact at the person, YouTube thing, is suggesting it might be better to spread the videos out a little bit more, so we might move it to 8 or 9 o'clock. Let me know down in the comments. I might even put a post up on the community page. What's a good time to release home? 7 p.m, 8 p.m, or 9 p.m, just to give it a more of a gap from Non-League to Legend. Who knows? But we will be back with, I guess we'll do Sutton and Colchester. So we'll get August out of the way, get the Checker Trade Trophy, get that out of the way, and then we'll do Sutton and Colchester in Monday's episode at whatever time that ends up being. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.